Um, Today is July the 11th, and it is 5:01. We do have a quorum, so we can go ahead and proceed. Any public comments? No public comments? We're going to go ahead and go on to the consent agenda. If I have any questions on the consent agenda items?
Madam Chair, I have a couple of comments on the consent agenda items, number 2, number 4, number 5, 6, and 7.
I'm sorry, number 2?
Number 2,
Uh-huh,
number 4,
uh-huh.
number 5, 6, and 7.
John?
I'm sorry, 6, that's 6 and 9.
6 and 9.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Want to go through those items and then we can pull those out and
Yeah, we can go through them, I mean, however y'all want.
we can take item 2 first. Eddie?
Sir?
Item 2, I'm looking at item 2, and I see that we have, according to the summary, that there is a urgent need for replacement. Y'all have one vendor from the buy board. I think these items are, for me, they're uncomfortable when there's only one vendor that's urgent situation. Well, can you tell me a little bit why this wasn't addressed 2 months ago, 3 months ago?
Actually, it was. We looked at a couple of different ways of doing this. These are devices that help us speed up and our backups. We have very large backups of data for our enterprise systems and then for the user data. During the cyber attack, they were able to not only get in, but they were able to destroy some of our backups. So a couple of the things that were recommended from on the insurance side was that we be able to have a secondary backup. In other words, one here, and like our secondary site is the power plant. And also to try to get a backup offsite. And to be able to do it offsite with that amount of data, we have a window. We tried a couple of different methods over the last few months to get that done. This is the one that works, that we've tried. We actually, we worked with them. They said, we can get that done. We said, okay, show me. Let me borrow do you have one that we can borrow? So we've been using that equipment for the last couple of months on loan to test it, and it's passed our tests. So at this point, we're ready to recommend purchasing it. But it's something that we've actually been working on for months now.
Eddie, I'm trying to understand you, and I want to be respectful of this process, but that's what you just said. I don't see that in your summary. The current backup environment appliances are now at the end of life and need urgent replacement. So, okay, that's your response. I understand. I'm concerned when we only have one vendor offered by board, $200,000 item. It's not out there for competitive bids. I understand what you're saying, but it's not here in the summary.
I understand. We'll do a better job on that next time. However, the buy board is a competitive.
I understand what the buy board
okay.
is. We've been through it in the last 3 weeks a couple of times. I'm more comfortable with competitive bids. This is a public organization. It's convenient to buy board, and I understand they're approved by the state and all that, but these are just my comments.
Any other questions?
No.
No.
Okay, we'll go on to 4 and 5 now, Maureen.
On number 4, again, these are large ticket items over $700,000. There's 2 vendors, and then there's an engineer's estimate. At any time, Marie, do you all negotiate with these? When you have an engineer's estimate that's almost $200,000 less, is there any discussion with these vendors to bring the pricing down?
Well, Mr. This was a sealed bid, so we can't really negotiate or talk to them. I know one of the facts that this project came in substantially high. Number one, that it was scheduled to be bid earlier this year, and then it got postponed and prices continue to go up. And out of the 700,000, the big ticket item, if you look in the bid tabulation, is close, right under 300,000 for the temporary bypass.
Yeah, I saw
And,
that.
and that's, the necessity for that is that this is the pipeline that feeds, that brings the raw water from the river to this.
I read all that
pipeline.
material. I'm just wondering, what is the purpose of the engineer's report when there's almost a $200,000 difference?
Yeah, I mean, actually, the engineer that drew this up is out, this week. But I can tell you most likely was that there's no way that they would have anticipated the higher cost in the pipes and what the contractors are bidding. And the contractors will tell us they're only reflecting what the market prices are. Yeah. And especially on this type of pipe, the pre-stressed concrete cylinder pipe is a very unique type of pipe, type of construction to weld the joints and so forth.
Well, it sounds like PUB and perhaps other organizations are at the mercy of these
I hate this.
vendors, these high prices without any ability to protect a lower value.
That in the deliverables, every contractor is saying that every pipe manufacturer, the deliverables are, if we're lucky, the easiest would be 6-week delivery time, 4 to 6 weeks delivery time. That's where it used to be 2 weeks.
Yeah,
to
I understand all that, and I just wanted to be on the record, and also the public can understand what is going on here. To me, it sounds like these vendors have a pretty strong hold on perhaps not just PUB, but other organizations, but these are huge differences, and these are not $20,000, $30,000 items, they're over $700,000 items. But, okay, that's, I just wanted to understand that.
Item 5.
And I have number 5 as well.
Number 5, I mean, it's the same thing. You have two vendors that are, and I already read the information, and some of them have already been pre-approved. I just don't understand how people are not interested in trying to obtain business from PUB. Only 2. I know there was 4 vendors. It's down to 2. And I think I've had this conversation with y'all before. Is there any way to expand
And on this, Mr. Rendon, these are material providers for PVC and the fittings, the water lines, sewer lines and fittings. And I've asked the same question, and pretty much Core and Main and Agua Works, and I'm sure Diane probably knows more about this than even ourselves, but they're pretty much the only providers from Corpus down to provide PVC-related materials. And I've asked, how come we can't go to the vendors in San Antonio area and stuff? Pretty much they say, well, there is a Agua Works and a Core Main in the San Antonio region, and they pretty much have their clients and their customers in that region. And in our region sticks to, everybody goes to these 2, or there might be a third one, Ferguson, correct? Okay, 2 more. But in,
what a great
what a great
great
time to
service.
be,
I mean, they have us where they want us, they price what they want to price, and it's hard for me to understand and to process that there's no other way to try to improve the purchasing of these materials at a better value.
right.
And
And-
perhaps I'm full of it, but darn, it's
And so out of 4 locally, I guess 2, and I don't know, they say they're competitors, but yes, sometimes I doubt that they talk to each other and say, well, if you 2 are going after this project, then we don't go after it. We don't know.
yeah. The next item, Mr. Brusiak, I was concerned with, that I wanted to comment about is, it's the hauling of the limestone. You have the current vendor, which is RML Hauling, and then you're going to recontract with them at the same ones. Prices are increasing. But there's no one else within 500 miles that does this kind of work?
Well, we call the vendors before the bid. We advise them about it. We let them know it's coming. And I mean, I don't know why they don't want to bid. I know, like with Marie's, we got responses from the vendors that they don't want to commit to giving us a price. And then we hold them to that price when it gets awarded. And then when we give them the purchase order and then they'll say they can't hold the price. So they don't want to commit to giving us a bid. That's what some of the vendors have told us.
Well, okay, I don't want to say anything else.
I think on this one too, Mr. Rendon, when that limestone, I know the city's having difficulties getting limestone for their streets. I think maybe the vendor we have may have stockpiles of it that has it available, which may be the only one around that can get it. So that,
It just seems like, Don, and for the public who perhaps see these items online or see these documents, it has to be a major concern when you have a very limited amount of vendors selling the same product with no ability to negotiate. I understand that the sealed estimates that come in, but this must be tough business. And then nobody else is interested in
I know there's-
$500,000 contracts?
There's reason also because PUB requires that they have a $1 million
I
insurance.
understand liability insurance and
And a lot of the smaller vendors can't provide that amount of insurance.
yeah. John, number 9
number 9, Albert.
is, again, real simple. You have one vendor. And I've heard this name before. I would like somebody to kind of explain to me exactly, because I can imagine a lot of people don't know what this organization does. And they're contracted at $274,000 to do what?
These are called the customer service inspection, and this is required before we connect service to a customer, water services. So they go in and do the kind of survey the plumbing and also look for lead within the facility or residential home. This is
Who are they? This organization you're talking about that we contract with, that y'all contract with,
Yes.
do they have field people here in Brownsville, or where are they coming from?
I mean, I do have the vendor is here, if you'd like for him
No,
to.
I'd like to ask you a couple of
Uh,
questions.
Yeah, they're here in Brownsville. I mean, we have local contractors that their main office is,
They're out of Carrollton.
like in Dallas is where they
Yeah,
have their
they're
main
up in
office.
Carrollton. This is the only organization that does this work?
Well, we did send it out to 7 vendors. Some of them was beyond their scope. Some of them just do kind of fire inspections. So they don't do this type of work. It is kind of specialized and you have to have a license and certified by the state. And so they have to have those folks that are doing those inspections certified. And it takes quite a bit of coordination because we have to vet these people. They're going to go to people's homes. And so they got to make sure that they're licensed. and
I
certified.
understand that.
Okay.
I just have a hard time, again, processing that there's only one organization in the entire state of Texas that can do this work. They're out of Carrollton. No one else can do it. I understand they might be licensed by, I don't know who, TCEQ, and one of the state organizations, but so one vendor for.
Well, no. I mean, we did send it to the 7 vendors, but they're the only ones that responded that could handle the work and had the folks that could actually do the work.
Yeah,
Any of these would probably be able to do, but for some reason or other, they didn't have the capability or the personnel or folks with licenses and things
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
it's tough for me to understand that,
I
but
know.
I just wanted to make these comments and make a statement, and we can move on.
Okay, that covers all of them, Rendon.
Thank you, Mr. Rendon. If there's no other questions, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda items? So moved. Second. Any opposed?
I'm opposed.
One. All right. We have the votes. Motion carries. We're going to go ahead and go to the next items for individual consideration. We have number one, we have the general manager's report.
Yeah, Madam Chair, members of the board, we've got the 5 usual items: the board calendar, financial report, engineering, legal fees, expense report, the COB, capital work order report, and then a procurement summary. 2 other things I just wanted to mention. I've asked Marilyn, I had sent out an issue this morning about ERCOT with the concerns of running short of capacity to meet our load, the state load on the electric side, and I'd asked Marilyn to give an update on that as at the end of today. So.
Madam Chair, members of the board, today we had a conservation alert issued by the ERCOT, and ERCOT indicated that what that means is that ERCOT required any type of conservation of energy between the hours of 2 to 8. And so that is a customer appeal. And so what that means is that, that they were experiencing a hotter than normal day with the resources not available. The committed capacity for the state is 84,306. The current demand right now for the state is 8,313. How does that affect us? If the state goes into a state of emergency, then they start issuing notices to curtailment, and then that's when the load shedding appears. At this time, we're not there yet, and we're closely monitoring the situation there. We know that at this time that our units, some of them are running. We do have one on an outage, but we are meeting the demands for our load here in Brownsville. So any questions?
Well, I know August is probably is it hotter than July, August, September?
Typically, August runs hotter than July, and we do have one of our units on an outage. We expect for it to come back online in about a week and a half.
I just want to make sure that we sort of prepare. I know we can't forecast or foresee what would happen, but I think preventative measures, I think advising the public, letting them know, and just to prepare for the next couple of months that we'll be faced with that situation.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be watching that closely this week and into August for sure. Yeah, it's on that. The main driver on that, if you looked at that information I sent, was the projection of wind load that would not be available. Now, it looks like the wind blew today more because just by looking around, the trees were moving, so turbines are moving. Probably a better day than it was Sunday. Sunday was bad in Brownsville. If you went out, it was so hot, there was no wind. Maryland drove up to Corpus and back said all the turbines were off. So that's a big amount of turbines that were not running. Luckily, it's not a work day on Sunday. That was today, probably been maybe a different story.
And John, why were the turbines off? Is any idea?
No wind.
No win.
Just a lack of wind and they don't have any energy?
No, nothing inside turning the wheels. Okay, and the other one was I put a copy of the drought contingency plan in front of you, and the mayor has one as well. I talked to the mayor a little bit before the meeting. The reason I've got that in front of you is we are right now in stage 1 voluntary water conservation. That's activated every May, regardless of condition. It just encourages people to conserve and be vigilant on water. If you go to page 3 under stage 2, water shortage alert, we're very close to getting to the point of looking at implementing that. The main driver of that is if the reservoir levels reach 25%, that's a trigger to go into that. They're at 25.4, I believe, today. And so no action tonight. I just wanted the mayor to be aware of it because the mayor and I would make that determination to implement that and input from the board, of course. I would encourage the board to go through this. We can maybe do a workshop on what level 2, level 3, and level 4 mean for the customer. And I don't want to do that tonight because it's not on the agenda, but I am concerned by the water levels being at 25. The 3 goes when it's 15. We could very well get to 15 this year the way things are, unless we get some rain. And so we'll be bringing this to the board, and the mayor and I will be talking about it. The good thing is beneficial for us. We do have SRWA, the Brackish Groundwater Project, which is about 30% of our water. And so that's not impacted by the drought, so which other places don't have. So we'll look at the stage 2 and see what we recommend we implement on that if we do it at this time. But it is an adopted plan by the city. The state requires this plan. It's under, the TCEQ has this plan, so they watch if you're not following the plan. So, but I did want to just initiate it tonight, just so we can start taking a look at that and ask questions, and we'll do a workshop with the board. Any questions of the board or mayor? Anything?
No, John, I just think that it's important to start taking precautions and really start planning. We're anticipating more drought conditions, certainly, and I know this is the first time it's been at 25% in a while, and that's even with Southmost, so it's pretty serious, and I think we should just continue to prepare and see what we can do, and I know that you and I are going to have a discussion, so prepared to do that.
Okay. That's all I have on that. I just want to get you to thinking about it anyways and start looking at it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now on the board calendar under A, it's in your packet. We do have the Texas Public Power Association annual meeting, the July 25th through the 27th. And that's the main item. We'll move on to the financial report. Mike or Monica? Buddy.
Afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. We're going over the May 22 year-to-date. We'll start with our income statement. So we see the year-to-date numbers. We had sales and service charges of $163.4 million, less our rate stabilization of $12.1 million, and utility service to the city of Brownsville of $3.3 million, leaves us total operating revenues of $148 million. Our operating expenses, purchase power and fuel, was $51.5 million, personnel services of $29.6 million, materials and supplies of $4.5 million, repairs and maintenance, $2.8 million, contractual and other services, $21.3 million, and depreciation, $19 million. Our total operating expenses of $128.8 million leaves us operating income of $19.2 million. We then have our non-operating revenues and expenses. Our contribution to SRWA, $4.2 million. Investment and interest income, $338,000. Operating grant revenue, $123,000. Interest expense of $6.5 million. Other expenses and revenues of $1.4 million. Loss on disposition of capital assets of $714,000. And then our cash payments to the city of Brownsville, net of their usage, of $7.1 million. So our net non-operating expenses was $16.7 million, which gives us income before capital contributions of $2.5 million. Then our capital contributions of $3.4 million gives us a change in net position of $5.9 million. When added to the net position at the beginning of the year of $411.3 million, gives us a net position of $417.2 million. When we look at our flow of funds, we see that we generated sufficient revenues and sufficient surplus to cover our operating subaccount, the fuel adjustment, our improvement fund, capital improvement plan funding, and our commercial paper defeasance of $16,926,000, and still had an improvement fund surplus of $5.2 million year to date. That's the financials. Does anybody have any questions on the financials?
Madam Chair, if I may, just real quick, I just want to make the board aware. It was brought to my attention that approximately $1.3 million worth of depreciation expense, or the depreciation expense increase that was reported back in February pertains to prior years periods. As I had stated before, we did have a depreciation study that was conducted as part of the transmission cost of service study to support that study. And so the TCOS was approved in January. We went ahead and implemented the new depreciation study in February. And there were some transmission assets in there that had their lives shortened. And so what the program did is it recaptured all that depreciation from prior years. So we've discussed this with the external auditors, Burton, McCumber, and Longoria. And there's two reporting options. One is going to be to leave it as an expense in the current period. You know, it's really dependent on the auditor's materiality level. 1.2 out of a $220 million budget, 0.5%. It's really immaterial, but it's going to be dependent on the auditors. They're assessing that. The second option would be to report it as a separate line item between the net position beginning of the year and net position at the end of the year, and then full disclosure in the footnotes. I just wanted to make the board aware of that. So as soon as we hear from the external auditors as to what option they recommend, then we can incorporate that into the report. Any questions? Thank you.
Next item is the engineering fees. We have our O&M budget of 723,000, and then our capital budget of 2 million gives us a total budget of 2.7 million. Year to date, our spending is a little bit over $1 million, or roughly 30% of the budgeted amount. And so we still have 63% of the engineering fee budget available for the rest of the year. So we're in a good position on the engineering fees. The next report is our legal fees. Our O&M budget is $1,425,746, and then 100,000 for capital projects gives us a budget of $1,525,746. Our year-to-date spending through the end of May is $1,150,256, or approximately 75% of the budget. So we are a little more critical on that spending year-to-date. We have 25% of the budget remaining for the rest of the fiscal year on our legal fees. When you look at the detail by firm and by categories, you'll see that we have highlighted special projects or special items that have come up, unanticipated, unbudgeted items. Those total $352,000 for the year, or approximately 31% of the year-to-date spending on legal fees is related to special projects that were unbudgeted and unplanned. That's it for the legal fees. Any questions on that? And then the last item I have is on the capital work orders for the city of Brownsville. And we did have an increase this month of $1,961.17, which was for street lights. And so our year-to-date capital work orders that we've done for the city is $16,748, relatively nominal amount as opposed to previous years. That's it for my reports.
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the board. This is a procurement authorization summary for the second quarter, April through June 2022. The majority of the items were bid out. They are or on a state contract, or they were amendments to existing contracts. The total for water and wastewater and administration was $620,093.27. The total for electric was $1,273,934.34. The grand total of $1,894,027.61. Thank you.
Any questions from you? With that, we're going to move on to item number 2, which is a consideration and possible action on the following resolution. It's a resolution approving the updated study by Wilden Financial Services, an independent consulting and engineering firm of Brownsville Public Utility Board's water and wastewater rates, fees, and charges, including a resaca charge, and requesting the City Commission to amend Section 102-114B of the Code of Ordinances to approve and adopt the rates identified in the study.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board. BPUB sells treated water on a wholesale basis to 3 water distribution companies, that being Brownsville Navigation District, Military Highway Water Supply Corporation, and El Jardín Water Supply Corporation. Chapter 102, Section 114 of the City of Brownsville Code of Ordinances presents the wholesale water service rate. This rate applies to the Brownsville Navigation District and Military Highway Water Supply Corporation only. There is a subsection B that pertains solely to El Jardín Water Supply Corporation. So this subsection of rates for El Jardín were not updated in the original ordinance, number 2022-1701, that was approved by the City Commission in May of 2022. This omission was caught after the fact. So staff is recommending approval of a resolution requesting the city commission consideration of amendment to chapter 102-114B of the Code of Ordinances. El Jardín has been advised and is fully aware of the wholesale water rate increases that are forthcoming. Any questions?
Again, how did this happen? How was it,
Like I said, it's a subsection of the wholesale rate. And so it was just something that it was not included in the original report that we got from World Financial Services. We didn't catch it. The consultant obviously didn't catch it when they forwarded it to us, and DTRG didn't catch it, and so it was caught after the fact.
consultant?
We got the final report, it was included.
Didn't catch it, and we didn't catch it?
Excuse me,
Consultant
the
didn't catch it?
consultant didn't catch it, we didn't catch it, DTRG didn't catch it when they were helping us with the
So
ordinance.
I imagine the consultant didn't submit an invoice for their work on this, I hope.
Well, we got the final report, and that's when we saw
I'm
that
just-
he had the updated. I understand. Sorry. Any other questions?
Rates are the same as they are for.
The rate increases will be based on what was approved, the 8%, 8.8654, something like that.
Questions? Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
I,
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
We'll be taking an updated ordinance to the city of Brownsville.
Thank you, Mike. We're going to move on to item number 3, which is a consideration and possible action to approve reimbursement to the city of Brownsville for utility improvements as part of the street paving and drainage improvements for CIP District Number 3.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Marie Leal, and I am the Director of Special Projects and Water Wastewater Engineering, Planning and Operations. As part of the City of Brownsville street paving and drainage improvements for CIP District Number 3, the Brownsville Public Utilities Board included needed utility improvements and adjustments in the project design and construction contract. The project includes the installation of 3,330 linear feet of new water lines and 3,000 linear feet of new sewer lines, as well as the replacement of approximately 215 service lines in Calle Buenos Aires, Calle Norteña, and Jose Marti Boulevard. Invitations to bids were advertised by the City of Brownsville, and bids were received by their City Purchasing Department on April 27, 2022, with one bidder responding as follows. It was G&T Paving LLC with a bid for street and drainage of $3,310,541.60. And their bid for utility adjustment was $1,584,454.48. And their total the total bid for the project, $4,894,996.08. BPB staff is recommending approval to reimburse the City of Brownsville for the utility improvements as part of the street paving and drainage improvements for CIP District Number 3 for an amount not to exceed $1,584,454.48.
Any questions from the board?
Marie, when y'all start this project, are you responsible for monitoring the work by this organization?
We do inspect. We have our full-time inspectors that will inspect the water and sewer installations and all of the utilities.
You have a starting date and midpoint and?
Yes, sir.
hopefully-
From pre-construction meetings, all the way to the final walkthroughs, all the way to the final invoicing closeouts. And we work hand in hand with the city engineer and the city staff on this.
The PUB does the work for this, or?
No, we don't. G&T will do the work for this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And we
We're-
provide,
We're just going to reimburse them.
right.
Okay.
And we provide an inspector, and I provide one of the staff engineers to project manage it. In every invoice gets rotated through us, in the city. At the same time, also has their design engineer that oversees it on behalf of the city.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Any motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Anna? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vern. We're going to go to item number 4. Consideration and possible action to authorize the general manager and chief executive officer to negotiate and execute a retail energy contract based upon a firm and a final offer submitted by retail energy providers.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Cesar Cortinas, Director of Transmission and Distribution of BPUB. BPB has 33 electric accounts in the AEP certification area. These accounts vary from lift stations, water pressure devices, security lights, including electric service to the water wells, SRWA. An invitation for proposals was advertised in the Herald, in the Brownsville Herald on June 19 and 26, 2022, posted on BPU website and emailed to 9 vendors. On July 7, 2022, BPUB Purchasing Department acknowledged the proposals. Due to the volatility of the retail energy market, retail energy provider cannot guarantee submitted prices more than 8 hours. Therefore, staff will call for firm and final offers from the retail energy providers to submit proposals to finalize a contract with the best and firm price per kilowatt hour received. We also want to take this item to the board next week on Monday. At this time, the recommended action is BPUB staff recommends that the board authorize the general manager and the chief executive officers to negotiate and execute a 2-year contract for retail energy service based upon firm and final offers to the vendor offering the lowest rate. Any questions?
John, do you make this decision alone or in consultation with
Well, we can
staff
do it
or
with-
consultants?
We'll do it with staff and do it. And this is normally how we do this one because of the time constraint of doing it. And then we'll bring it back to the board and tell them what we,
What kind of figure will this end up being? It's a 2-year contract. How much capital are we talking about?
you know, Cesar, what we paid last week.
Yeah, well, I have to rate it's 35 cents. And that was, yeah, Texas UNG.
But do you know, what the contract amount was?
I don't.
Ballpark, do you have an idea? Since 3 million, 5 million, 20?
400,000?
Well, 400.
400,000 a year.
I suspect it's gonna be a lot higher than everything else. You looked at the regional provider prices.
Yeah.
They're,
Well, the gas is off the charts.
so it's gonna be high.
Any more questions?
Questions? Can I get a motion to approve?
So move.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
We're going to go to item number 5, which is consideration and possible action for proposal award for the purchase of the airport substation steel structures.
Madam Chair, members of the board, that item we'd like to table for 1 month.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Move the table.
Recommending.
Move to table in a second.
Second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
This time, we're going to go ahead and go into closed meeting. We're going to be discussing the meeting with the board's legal counsel for advice about contemplated and pending court and administrative litigation, and on matters in which the duty of the attorney under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct conflicts with Chapter 551, Section 551.071, including, among other matters, legal issues related to bankruptcy of vendor HDI, status of proceedings in suit versus Texas Attorney General to protect competitive information, cybersecurity incident, and status of claims and litigation against BPUB resulting from Winter Storm Uri. If I can get a motion to approve?
So move.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Three.
Ready?
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and continue. The next items for individual consideration. Number 6 is consideration and possible action on items discussed in closed meeting. There was nothing at this time.
No.
And number 7, a discussion on a request for a future agenda items.
I would, Madam Chair, I'd request that we bring the legal fees item to a future meeting. Just put it on the agenda on a regular meeting. I don't think it requires a special meeting.
Okay,
for next month?
yes,
Okay.
okay.
Any other requests? Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Have a good day, y'all. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Hey, Sam.
There wasn't that many items on.